first, let me say thank you on behalf of the Dixon family and the extended family for everyone who was able to make it today. I'm Shagari, the nephew of Uncle Alvin, by way of his sister Janet. I just want to do again the welcome on behalf of the family, and just to say, you know, as untimely as it is, I am proud of being the nephew of what I consider an all-round builder, right? Not only a builder of great memories, but a builder of family, fun, and legacy. Okay. As I was saying, a builder of not only family and memory, but of legacies that stand as a testament of his creativity and his passion. I won't say who, but the last time I had a conversation with Uncle Alvin, we actually
Thank you, Shigari. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Gabriel Ukala, and I am a member of the Ekanka clergy. I welcome all of you who have come today to honor the life of my dear friend, Alvin Dixon, and to share our love for him. As some of you know, Alvin was As some of you know, Alvin was a member of Ekanka, a religion of the light and sound of God. I came to know Alvin early in 1998, shortly after meeting his lovely wife, Valerie Dixon. It did not take long before I discovered how deeply spiritual and that Alvin was, especially after he shared some of the phenomenal dreams and possibly soul travel experiences that he had before we met. He very quickly embraced the teachings of Eckankar, which answered most of his questions, his life's questions. And he became a committed member, and shortly after that. And at our meetings, he always spoke passionately about the love, his love for the spiritual teachings of Eckankar. Alvin and I remained great friends since then, not only for his masterly skills in building construction, but for his humility, his respect, kindness, and genuineness. My wife and I, amongst a couple other doctors, tried to do the very best we could for him through his last challenging months, weeks, and days. But we are grateful and privileged to have been of service to him before his translation. I am truly thankful to Alvin's wife, Valerie, and his family, for asking me to conduct this service today. Thank you very much. So in opening, I'd like to bring a little bit of information that Ek is the life force, the Holy Spirit, or audible life current, which sustains all life. And this Ek Memorial Service today is about the nature of life, death, love, and the journey of soul. Alvin is soul, an eternal individual spark of God who can never die, but who has left this arena of life for a new one. Here today, we shared with Alvin and to open to a richer understanding of our common spiritual journey. Each person is a divine being who comes to life on earth with a spiritual purpose. Lifetime after lifetime, soul grows in love and grace, ultimately to become a co-worker with God. A lifetime is a precious gift, an opportunity for spiritual growth and service to others. Most of all, life brings soul to the purity of love, compassion, and grace. Each one of us travels a path of spiritual unfoldment, only partly visible to others. This is the secret inner side of life, our private commitment or communion with God. In Ekankar, we believe that God, or Sugmod, sends each soul into life to discover itself as a divine being walking on holy grounds. Soul is never without the twin aspects of God, the light and sound of God, which is also known as the Holy Spirit. The light is to show us what we must overcome, and the sound calls our hearts home to God. The spiritual leader of Ekankar, the Mahanta, the living Ek Master, whose picture is at the foot of this podium, serves as our companion and guide on this journey. The Mahanta, the inner teacher, leads us into the light and sound, forever reminding us that soul exists because God loves it. Births and deaths or mark the journey of soul. The translation from one stage of experience to another is but a further step of soul's journey home to God. We're going to take just ask one individual, a member of Ekankar, who's been a great friend of Alvin as well, to just come and share a remembrance about Alvin. As you know, we are all here for a spiritual journey, and most of the time, what we leave behind is the impact that we had in other people's lives, people that we have met, how we have impacted on them, how we have elevated them, and how we have helped them also on their own spiritual journeys. So I will now ask our friend, Mrs. Lisa Holmes Shirley, to please come up and share a couple words about her remembrances of Alvin. Lisa, thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Come on, good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. Come on, with a portrait like that, we have to be just lighthearted at this time. Now, on your programs, you will see that my husband was the person to deliver this tribute. However, since we're one, stand right here to do such. Alvin Dixon, a shining light of wisdom and talent. For me, Alvin Dixon was a remarkable individual who brightened the lives of everyone he met, whether he was paying you a compliment or simply sharing his opinion of an experience. Can you hear me? I start again. For me, Alvin Dixon was a remarkable individual who brightened the lives of everyone he met, whether he was paying you a compliment or simply sharing an opinion or an experience. As a result of his infectious joy, kindness, and genuine concern, you are left feeling inspired. At our meetings, it was always a pleasure to see him debating about his beloved Fortis with young Jaden, who was hopelessly defending his True Blue JC. Or when he measured up against young Aidsley, who he thought was growing way too fast. He was popular with the young people. Mr. D, as we would call him, was the person who didn't pay attention to be last in whatever was happening, or even while doing so, he led and provided guidance from whichever position he was in. That's Mr. D. The gentle giant, the gentle man, the gentle soul. I believe that of all the virtues, Alvin displayed gratitude and humility at all times. I am most certain that if he could, he would tell everyone in this room a big thank you. I also know that you all agree that Mr. Dixon was a thorough thinker who brought wisdom and insight into every conversation or interaction. He was never the loudest speaker, but while he spoke, the room would be permeated with silence, as one would not want to miss a single word uttered from his lips. His life experiences from Trelawney to Kingston to Manchester allowed him to be frank, yet considerate. This approach earned him the respect and admiration of all who knew him. Alvin's passing leaves a huge void. I'm sure you will agree. Upon receiving the news of his passing, my daughter Ariana stated that the memory of him will continue to inspire her. Like her, we'll remember his bubbly personality, warm smile, his thoughtful words, and his unwavering commitment and kindness to his family and friends. During the weeks since his passing, we have reflected on his innate and nurtured skills as an architect and builder. His nostalgic representations as an architect glorified shapes, silhouettes, and landscapes in the simplest yet complex form of tapestry. Mr. D used his time wisely, laying an inextricable bond of love and patience and trust to his wife, Valerie, building confidence in his grandchildren, and erecting structures that will span lifetimes. I say, purpose fulfilled. Dear Alvin, you always did it your way. Laughing, loving, living, lamenting the loss of a cricket game, listening to your favorite tunes, laying a foundation, even laying down a lick on a guitar. Loving your family, which is a given. Your legacy will live on in our hearts, and your impact will continue to touch lives for generations to come. Valerie, Jomo, Gaia, Derek, Sai, Lula, Cara, Catherine, and the entire family, always remember, never forget, we are here for all of us. May the blessings be.
Wow. Thank you so much, Lisa. I think your husband did well not to come. Because I'm not sure that he would have, superseded what you just did. And if you ask me what I would remember about Alvin, I think it was a little bit of his mischief that, that I love quite a bit. Those twinkles in his eyes when he sees cake that he's not supposed to be eating. Yes, and he grabs them and quietly waits until all of the chunks have been taken out of the container. Then he winks and asks my wife to push the bottom part of the cake to him. And then he settles down, sits as if he's sitting on 3 chairs, and he sits and balances and scrapes the bottom of it, and finishes it. You couldn't tell him that sugar was not a good thing to eat. You would have to come back another day to say that, but not when there is cake in front of him. But that was Alvin. Be assured that family would have a chance to say their remembrances about Alvin after this short service. So I thank you again, Lisa, for taking us through that. I would like us to sing a song that was so dear to Alvin's heart. This is our adaptation of the Amazing Grace. And we call it Amazing Hugh because Hugh, H-U, for us, is another name for God. H-U. And I will demonstrate how we sing that word when we are doing our prayers, when we're doing our spiritual exercises. HU is actually common. If you remember human being, HU man being, human being. Hugh is actually another name for God, and what human being means is actually God, man, being. That's what it actually means. But we're going to ask Markel Virgo to please come up and lead us through this Amazing Hugh song. It is also in your program, and the words are there. You can sing along if you may. So he will do the first verse, and then all those of us who wish to join can join and sing the whole thing through. Thank you.
brought me safe thus far, and you will lead me home. The you has given life to me, it sound my home secures, my shield and portion. You will be as long as life endures. The earth will someday pass away, the sun forbear to shine, but God who sent me here below, I'll be forever thine.
Wow, thank you. You may be seated. Thank you so much. That's a beautiful voice. Virgo. I wanted to just remind you of the last verse of that song that says that the earth will someday pass away, that the sun forbear to shine, but God who sent me here below, I'll be forever thine. Thanks again. Now, when we have our meetings and we sing this song, I just love Alvin so much. And he knew it. Because when we sing this song, both of us connect. I might be at the other end, and he's on the other end. He marks up, you will see him muscling up, murking up that deep voice. And he was a good singer. And then I'm trying to throw in the tenor from the other side so that we blend it so nicely. Life is to be enjoyed because it's only for a short time. And when that short time is over, it is all memories that we have. And Alvin did leave a lot of sweet memories. I'm going to take a reading. Sri Harold Klemp, the leader of Ekankar, was once asked, what is the transition like when we live here at death and go to the next place? Sri Harold's response, recorded in the Golden Heart Mahanta Transcripts, Book 4, was as follows. In most cases, as we make the transition, we are totally unconcerned about it. As bright as the sun appears here to our eyes, the physical world is a dark, small, and mean place compared to the other worlds. You will see settings similar to those on earth, but larger and with a lot more light. There will be a lightness and spaciousness about the body that you wear there. Soul is once again wearing a body, but it is a higher plane. It is so natural that generally you don't give it a second thought, and you are always greeted by someone you know and love. I like to repeat that. When we do pass away, we are always greeted by someone you know and love. For people who love truth and love God, it's a smooth change, and the key really is love. In closing, this memorial service has been a time for us to celebrate the journey that has brought Alvin closer to God. We will close by singing Hugh, H-U, a love song to God, to reawaken our hearts to the blessings of life. It is generally sung sweetly in one drawn-out note like this. When you sing Hugh with love, your heart fills with the light and sound of God. I invite you to join us, if you may, in singing this sacred name of God. Afterward, we will spend just a moment in quiet contemplation. And in that moment, I'll be asking you to reflect on Alvin, see him in his true light, joyous. I'm sure he's there laughing at all of us right now in his usual jocular way, or actually just mingling amongst us. He's such a beautiful spirit that in that moment of contemplation, we can give him all of the love that we can. There are members of Eckankar here who are sitting mostly to the left hand of me towards the front, and so they will help us take on the Hugh song. So we will sing just about 6 times. Again, if you may, you can just listen or you can join us. We generally close our eyes, think of a loving situation, find yourself in love embrace with God, with a loved one, with a loved situation. Just generally think of love. Contemplation. May the blessings be. I'd like to thank all of you for sharing your love with Alvin, but even more importantly, for giving Alvin this gift of having his memorial service conducted by a spiritual group that he loved and spent most of his later years in. He requested for this. He was very happy about it, always spoke passionately about the teachings of Ekanka. I thank you all for your coming and for your patience. And we will now move on to the next step in the program, which says remembrances. So this is the end of our service. We don't take all day. We take very short time. And thank you for your attendance and for listening and participation. Okay, to get the ball kicking, I'm going to ask Jomo Dixon, Alvin's son, to be the first to shoot.
Hello. Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon. Sorry under these circumstances at the meeting, but here gathered, it is a part of. You have to bear with me. This is not something I do regularly. So, thank you for coming to my dad's service. For those of you who knew him from high school days, the Fortis spirit is in full effect today. The purple tie. The purple tie. Please bear with me. So, again, thank you for coming. For those of you who knew my dad, I'm figuring most everybody here did. As much as funeral services are sad occasions, if you knew my dad and you have any memories of him, then you know that sadness was not something that was a part of any of his considerations. So, some of you may know him as Mr. Dixon, Alvin, Uncle Alvin, Dicko the Great, and one of my favorites, Mas Alvin. Sir D and Mr. D were all titles that he responded to, always favorably. And so D, that among the grandchildren I know is the way to call my dad. So, let me give you an introduction of the man I knew. Still know him. So, my dad loves cowboy novels. Louis L'Amour was one of his favorite authors, and Saturdays and Sundays were times spent watching Western movies all day. And and he would just, be in his element. So I didn't know him necessarily as a cowboy, but he was a pioneer. And a regular trip for him and his crew would be to Shields Hardware. Yeah. Mrs. Shields, need more material. Work a go on, ma'am. That was how I came to know him. So my first memories of him were from our house in Ingleside, where he was the proud builder. And he would remind you of that because in touring the house and ensuring that we were secure in it, he would be very involved in every aspect of what was ever going on. So he built our family home, he built many other family homes, and that is something that is a big part of the legacy that he will leave. So he found time, though, to play a little football, pick up games with me on the Sundays on the front lawn. And I do recall my dear mom, "Oh, no mind me flowers." We did our best. I know some of them didn't fare well, but it's all right. So we usually played until, it was dinner time on a Sunday, and, those were some really special moments that I'm sharing with you that I hope gives you a picture of where we are coming from. So, among the most indelible impressions of my dad is his optimism and his kindness. Very kind, very kind. I also remember him being very reassuring. "No worry yourself, Miss D. We're going to sort out. You're good, man." And, with that, I appreciated his ability to steer us in a positive direction. So that is something that I wanted us to make sure that I spent extra time on that one. So I know I'm supposed to keep it short. I'm not going to be here for a long time, but I just want to get some of the points in that maybe some of you might not be aware or may help you get a total picture the way I knew him. So more recently, one day I sent my dad a video link of his second grandson scoring a goal. And he said, "Boy, looks like him following in your footsteps, man." And I said, "You deserve credit." I said, "How that?" I said, "Well, I took side to watch Jared play at the Costa Cup match. And I think it is from that inspiration that my younger son actually started to mess around with football until he find himself on a team. And my dad was happy to hear about those moments, and those are the moments that we kind of share. So he was instrumental in my first son and daughter's lives, and I'm very grateful for that. So that is one of the stories that I wanted to share with you as well. So, like I said, I'm not going to stay long, but I encourage you because I think and I know that my dad deserves a very special and loving and warm places in all of our hearts, because that's the type of man he was. Yes? So, I'm supposed to keep it short, please. Bear with me. Well, it looks like I'm going to have to wing it, so, but it's a good thing that I'm at the end. Long and short of it, my dad is a very inspirational person. Somebody who always emphasized being positive and always emphasized doing your best. So he will be missed. And I just want you all to know that he is somebody who is near and dear and will always be somebody special to me for what he has done, raising me, looking after my family, looking after everybody in my family, regardless of anything. So I'm here giving thanks for his life, his memory, the times that we spent, and in keeping with our last conversations, I'm asking you, moving forward, let's just keep it positive and look forward to our next destination on our journeys. Thank you very much for coming in loving memory of my dad, Mr. Alvin Lorenzo Dixon. Thank you.
You're going to say something?
Hello and good afternoon, everyone. Me having a little hip problem. So, I don't pay it much mind because today is the day when I have to say something for dear old Alvin, my friend of 53 years and a wife to Alvin for 50 years. But I found something, I'm going to be very short because I have a song that I would like you all to sing to, and not only sing to it, to remember it. Because whether we're prepared or we're not prepared, there is not one of us here who came to stay in this dimension called Earth forever. We're going to be pitched out of our nest, whether we are prepared or we're not prepared. We're gonna have to fly. We're gonna have to, as them bad boy would say, leave Earth. Yes. So I begin in my remembrance of Alvin, something that was sent to me on Facebook, and I sought permission to use it. It's not gonna be long because I want you to listen to that song. Ernest Hemingway once said, "In our darkest moments, we don't need advice." There is one word in the English language for, and it's the word if. If him did do this, if him did do. The other are coulda, woulda, shoulda, please. It has happened. There is no one who is spared from pain. There is none of us here who came forever. So as Ernest said, what we truly need is the power of connection. As a new widow, I need connection and I need community. What will community give me? A quiet presence, a gentle touch, the smallest gesture that reminds us we are not alone. Today, as we honor Alvin, I reflect on how he lived this life on earth and how he lived this truth. Alvin didn't need grand gestures or elaborate words to make you feel supported. His love was in the small, meaningful acts, a steady hand to guide you, a reassuring smile to comfort you, or simply just sitting beside you in silence when words fell short. He taught us that while we cannot control what the storms of life come with, we can find trust in that the brighter days will follow. And finally, before my song, Maya Angelou once said, and I love this, every storm runs out of rain. The dark, stormy days will never last forever. Otherwise, Beryl would still be here. So every storm runs out of rain. Alvin showed us this through the way he lived, with grace, love, and unwavering strength. Let us allow Alvin to find his place, to find new purpose, and to find himself in a dimension where he will be as he was on earth, full of love, so much unconditional love to give. He wasn't perfect, but Alvin was a good man. Is the yes. So we will now ask that the song be played. Please, the words are in the and I want you to really reflect on what these words are.
Yeah, I'd like to now call Virgo. Is it possible to give Valerie a round of applause? Is this been strong or not? I mean, look at her coming up here,
Look good doing
looking great, and putting out this beautiful short speech about Alvin, well put together like a teacher would,
because she's a teacher.
which is always done. I mean, it's beautiful. Thank you so much. And again, it shows the spirituality that both Alvin and Valerie embraced. They talk more about love and the dimensions and the fact that life goes on. There is no need to be so sad, because this is what needs to happen from time to time. But Virgo and the musician, yeah?
I hear a track.
You're a track. Here you go.
So I ask you please to reflect on these words and apply them to yourselves.
Spread your wings and let the wind just sweep you to the sky. And I've tried too long to tie you down, so go ahead and fly. I know it's hard with such pretty wings to tell the wind goodbye. So I'll remove these ties that bind you. So go ahead and fly. A wild bird tamed can never find the true happiness in a cage. I knew you couldn't stay, and someday you'd have to fly. With love you came and cleared my mind of loneliness yesterday, but today, more than me, you love the sky. You never meant to make me just here. I can see it in your eyes. So I'll remove these ties that bind you. Go ahead and fly. Go ahead and fly.
Good afternoon, everyone. I don't know if my remembrance will be as short as Miss Dee's or Joan was, but I'll try to keep it short. I want to say my dad was perfect, but as he would always say, there's no such thing. Daddy was a kind man. He was selfless and thoughtful. In everything he said and did, he considered how his words and actions could affect others. I was raised to be polite, but my dad taught me the true importance of saying sorry and thank you. In fact, the last words I heard him speak were thank you. He was a wise man, and he gave the best advice. He was the first person I would call when I needed advice, validation, and comfort. He always knew what to say, when to say it, and how to say it. I remember once I was going through a really rough time, and I called him. During the conversation, I said, I just feel like giving up. Without hesitation, he asked, and what? Suffice it to say, that set me straight, and I did not give up. Daddy was a positive person and a man of incredible grit. Whatever the situation, whatever the circumstance, the positive outcome was his focus. Daddy was a man of integrity and believed in taking accountability. He always said, do the right thing, no matter what. My dad was one of the realest persons I've ever known. Yet he was one of the most charming persons I've ever known. There was never a time I was in his presence that I was not paid a compliment. He would tell me what a person I am, how
beautiful I am, how much of a great mother I am. Those are all lovely compliments, but the biggest compliment I ever received from my dad was when he told me how much of himself he saw in me. My father was brave and resilient. He faced every adversity and fear head on, but strategically. Daddy had a passion for music and a love for singing, but he was shy. I would say humble, but he always said shy. He was a member of his high school's choir and performed several times with them, but he still had a fear of being on stage. He eventually overcame his fear and became an avid karaoke singer. He invited me many times because he knew I had the same fear. It's a great regret of mine that I didn't muster the courage to go with him. It would have been such a great memory to have. Daddy was great at creating memories and was intentional about doing so. I have many wonderful memories of he and I. As a child, my dad taught me how to play board games like Chinese checkers and Scrabble. I remember the Scrabble marathons we had. They were always intense and enjoyable. They were mostly intense when he was losing. And that's why they became marathons. One evening, about 2 years ago, Ms. D? Mm-hmm. We were having a Scrabble marathon. We started at 7 p.m. That Scrabble marathon did not end until the sun began to rise. We laughed about it. So much. We laughed about it a lot. Daddy loved to laugh, and he loved to make everyone around him happy. He enjoyed preparing breakfast for his family on Sunday mornings. And although the offerings were limited to scrambled eggs, omelets, and quiche Lorraine, they were best scrambled eggs, omelets, and quiche Lorraine I had. The effort and love he put into preparing those meals made them even tastier. At Christmas time, his job was to prepare the ham, and he took such pride in preparing it. He took pride in all he did, really, in his work, in his appearance, and how he presented himself. My dad's shoes were always clean, and his knees were always properly groomed. He tried to maintain his fitness and his health, but beneath that handsome, charming, well-groomed exterior was a man of great character and spirituality. What you saw on the outside compared nothing to the man he was inside. I don't believe anything I say here in these few short minutes can sufficiently encapsulate the man he truly was. Daddy took his spirituality seriously. He had great faith. He prayed a lot, and he always encouraged me to do the same. His journey home was probably an easy transition because he was prepared to travel. Daddy was my best friend. Cliche, I know, but ask anybody. There's nobody who knows more about me than him. Nobody. He was and will continue to be my hero. I feel honored to have called him Daddy. I feel blessed to have been raised by him, taught by him, and loved by him. He was a rare one. He touched the lives and hearts of many, and his legacy will live on through his work and his family. And though Daddy was not perfect, in my eyes, he was most certainly close to it. Thank you. Guy.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here with us. Jared couldn't be here with us. He's currently in Japan. So I asked him to send us a voice note just to have him here, at least in spirit.
Hello, everyone. Firstly, I'd like to say I couldn't be able to make it in person, and I'm thankful that you're all gathered here today. It took a long time to properly find the words to put to paper. It's still very surreal that he's no longer with us. It, from my perspective, all happened quite quickly. I fear not having the right words to say, fear not being able to properly express how much of an impact he has had on my life. He's been there from the start. And in this kind of maelstrom of memories and a whirlwind of thoughts and feelings, I now know what he would have said to me. He would say, Jared, take your time and do your best. And focus on the positive. Always the positive. Then he'd grin from ear to ear with that infectious smile that you couldn't help but put you in a better mood. So in the spirit of his words, I'd like to say to him, thank you. Thank you for providing not just a roof over my head and our family's head, but for many families in Jamaica through your exceptional work. Thank you for being a great role model. I know you weren't perfect, but I mean, who is? You showed me that in spite of the challenges you might face in life, the mistakes you make, that you should always stand up, right your wrongs, face your issues with passion, zeal, and focus. Thank you for prioritizing togetherness and connection. Some of the best memories with you were around the table with family, having meals and listening to your corny jokes. Thank you for believing in me when I didn't have faith enough in myself. Thank you for showing me that thank you for showing me the value of being grateful, for seeing the beauty in the little things in life. Thank you for being kind and patient in your demeanor and for trying to instill the virtues of discipline and duty within me. These things and so much more I'm grateful for and will forever be in your debt. I'm proud of all you've accomplished as a person, and I'm proud to be your grandson. Fly high, Pops. Everything ends but everything blooms, and I can say that in the end your life blossomed well and bright. So, again, in the spirit of deed, I know that everyone here, you know that you're my big joker. And the last thing what I want is for people to ball and things. So if everyone could just take a moment and just remember some of the best memories you had with him and just crack a smile and smile for him. You know what I mean? So thanks everybody for listening, thanks everybody for being here and coming out to support.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Tajir. I met Dee and Grandma about 12 to 13 years ago through my friend Guy. They've said
Bonus grandparents to me. Those who knew Mr. Dixon affectionately refer to him as D, and I'm no exception. I'll always remember him as someone who loved and supported his family. He extended that love and support to me. He never once doubted my dream of becoming a medical doctor. I can proudly say I'm Dr. Tajirati. Nice to meet you. He is one of few persons who knew the obstacles stacked against actualizing that dream, and he supported me through them. As faith would have it, I was able to support him in the capacity of a doctor at a time when he was most vulnerable. On On the day he departed, I was late for work. I probably shouldn't say that while Dr. Yukala is here. I debated going to the ward where he was assigned, or admitted rather. I figured I could just see him later. For a reason greater than my own discernment, I opted to go straight to D. That morning, he was in the highest of spirits since being admitted, and he greeted me with the biggest of smiles. When I came around the corner and said, "Tajira, I knew it was you." I spent a few minutes with him, hugged him. I didn't realize it at the time, but he held on for a little bit longer. And he said, "Thank you." Unbeknownst to me, he was saying goodbye. If you knew him, you knew he was full of really bad jokes, as Jared said, but he was also full of life. I had the honor of being with him to the point where he departed this world. And even then, he was filled with life and gratitude for the care, consideration, and love that he was shown. I am happy that he felt the love and appreciation of his family up until the very end. He left this world knowing he was loved. His departure is undeniably sad, but there's a reason we're holding a memorial and not a funeral. Let's not mourn his leaving, but instead celebrate the full life that he led. Rest well, D. See you in the next life.
From as early as I can remember, Dee and Grandma were two of the most steadfast and loving people in my life. They chose to love me unconditionally and gave their all whenever they could. They exposed me to a life rooted in love, their wealth measured not in money, but in their willingness to nurture and their drive to shape me into a compassionate, respectful human being. My grandfather was one of my greatest friends and mentors. A father figure and a hand to hold. He wasn't perfect, but he instilled in me the values he held most dear: respect, integrity, and love. From a young age, he emphasized the beauty of a simple life and the value of quality time. We played cricket together, rode bikes, took trips out of town, and even visited his construction sites. He introduced me to a dynamic lifestyle, equipping me with experiences that would help me grow into a well-rounded adult. As I grew, so did he. He was humble enough to learn from me as I learned from him. His love for me was never just a responsibility. He truly enjoyed my company. Shared meals became more than just nourishment. They were moments that strengthened unbreakable bonds. Whether it was weekday breakfasts, Sunday dinners, or late night suppers, those times were filled with wisdom and connection. I'm creative, deeply attuned to the world around me. He was creative, deeply attuned to the world around him. He inspired me, and I found joy in sharing my creations with him. We had meaningful conversations about his past, my experiences, my future plans, business ideas, and creative dreams. He taught me, and I taught him. Grace in learning from someone younger spoke volumes about his character. He showed me how to be independent and navigate life practically, tools I later used to care for him. In his final days, he accepted my care with gratitude, his strength and respect unwavering, a slight smile, a gentle hug, and a nod of appreciation were his way of saying thank you. His love was spiritual, an agape love, boundless and enduring, still felt even though he is no longer here physically. He remains with me in the buildings he designed, the lessons he taught me, and the person I've become. I am deeply grateful for both of my grandparents. Their love is a gift I choose in every lifetime. Thank you.
We will be moving on. Please give Gaia another round of applause. As I said to her earlier this afternoon, she just grew up completely within the last 2 weeks. You will not believe how much of the decisions that were made to get this memorial service going that were actually, led by Gaia. Give her another round of applause. And forgive me, I am the officiator for the service. I wasn't supposed to be the MC. But Alvin was my great friend. I spent a lot of time with Alvin, whether it was in construction discussions and drawings he did for me and building that stuff that he did for me, or in my house having dinner, or I'm in his house having lunch. We spent a lot of time together, so I would just step into any role here. So we're going to be asking Nigel Moore, Milverton Martin, and Mario Brown to step up. I also hear that Mr. Clavel Crump, not Trump, no. The C, the ump that starts with a C, not a T, is also lining up to speak. Please remember that we have time, and we don't have a lot of time on our hands. Short speeches, if you may. So this is Mr. Nigel Moore.
Thank you. I don't know how short I can be, because everybody else who has spoken has known Alvin for the last 50 or 50 odd years. I have known Alvin for 70 odd. But Alvin actually knew me before I knew him. Simply that 2 ladies went into hospital at the same time in labor. And my sister came out 10 minutes before Alvin. So the families have been very close for over 75 years. Valerie, Joe Makara, the grandchildren, his siblings, Leith and Matthew, Janet and Dix. I don't think I can be as strong as the Dixons. Precious memories, how they linger. How do I say goodbye to someone I have known all my life? Alvin, to many in Mandeville, Mr. Alval. To me, just Mas Alvin. I'm trying to cut it short, Doc. All of my 70 odd years on earth, On December 31st, I found out something about the man who was always smiling, never showing a dull moment in his life. Alvin never opened up to most of us what was really going on in his life. He just didn't want to bother us. That's how he was. It had to be this way. Was it he was selfish? No, never. In fact, Alvin always was concerned about our well-being, the well-being of his friends and their families, and not just his. He just didn't want to burden us. Alvin returned to Trelawney in the mid-70s with a beautiful young lady. Can you imagine taking this lady from Kingston and carrying her down into the country below Ulster Spring, not even on the main road, where it was dark and cold and all they saw was Peony Wally in the night. But they made life there. Many parties. Chongi, Yvette, I can't just, it take too long to name all of us who Valerie and Alvin just call and say, session tonight. And it went on for some time until one night poor Valerie was cooking. And this area is Germantown, so some descendants of the Germans are there. And poor Valerie was cooking. And there come a descendant of the Germans. Walk through the front door, through the kitchen, and put him hand right in the pot and take out a piece of meat. Valerie said, no, this is it. This is it. But even then we enjoyed ourselves down there. The music was there, and Alvin, the only person doing his karaoke, singing, playing his one-string guitar, and just enjoying everything. And I found out later that Valerie was enjoying it, because what do you think happened down there? Jomo came. They moved after just after the main road. I think Valerie didn't want to keep Jomo down there. So they went up to Stettin. But right through the 70s, I have had some great life with Alvin. Master Alvin, you remember the day? Bumbleway. We come to Albertown, 2 cars. We're racing from Stettin to Albertown. Because he was a good driver. Mr. Stewart, can you hear me around here? Okay. Alvin, was a good Alvin coming to Mandeville, or even in the 70s, just after the 70s, Alvin was involved in the production pioneer, where he started to mentor quite a few young persons. And when he came into Mandeville, some of those who he mentored are here now. And one of them who couldn't be here today is my son, who Alvin taught everything he knew in architecture, in construction, in quantities, in management. I'm probably glad that Eddie can't be here, because I know you'd be crying, and we don't want anybody crying. Him cry very easily. My friend, I remember when Alvin got that in English side, and one day he called me and said, Eddie, you're coming through Mandeville? I said, yes. And he said, well, meet me around Miss Enid, house bar around Marshall Spin. So we reached around there, and Alvin said, that's not the reason I call you, but if I tell you, so we're going to the bar, you're going to come. I really want you to come and let us go out to Ingleside, because he had just started construction of his dream home. I was not part of the start of that construction, but he made sure that from the foundation of the one at Spur Tree, I was an integral part in it. As I see, we're talking about the karaoke nights and so, and I hear the young man singing, Mr. Vogo singing. I think he took a lot of things from Uncle Alvin, because he sounded very much like him. Yeah, he sounded very much like him, but at the karaoke nights. So, Alvin, here's to the ones who have got. Cheers, and wish you were here, but you are not. Cause the drinks bring back all the memories of everything we have ever been through. Toast to the ones here today. Toast to the ones that we lost on the way. Cause the drinks bring back all the memories. All the memories bring back memories of you. There's a time that I remember when I did not know no pain. When I believed in forever and everything could stay the same. Now my heart feels like December when somebody say your name. Can't I reach out and call you? But I know I will one day. Everybody hurts sometimes, everybody hurts someday, but everything is going to be all right. Go and raise your glasses and say aye. On December 31st, I can just imagine Alvin. And based on what the young doctor just said and what Valerie told me, Alvin knew he was going home. And I can just imagine him lying in the hospital bed and saying what, it looks like the end is near. I now face the final curtain, my friends. I'll state my case, which I'm certain of. I know I've lived a life that's full. I've traveled every place you can think of, and more, much more than this. I did all that my way. Regrets, the things I've said, the things I've done, the things that I've had a few. But then again, there are too few to mention. I did and I said what I had to do, and saw it through without exemption. I planned each charted course, each careful step along the byway, and more, much more than this, I did it my way. Yes, there were times, I'm sure you all knew, when I bit off much more than I could chew. But through it all, when there was doubt, I ate it all and spit it out. I faced it all and I stood tall. Even the short man stood tall. And yes, I did it my way. Oh, I've loved Valerie, the children, the grandchildren, the friends. I've laughed with everybody. I've even cried. Yes, I've had my fill, my share of losing. And now, as tears subside, I find it so amusing. To think I did it, all that, and may I say, not in a shy way, oh no, not me. I did it my way. For what is a man? What has he got? If not himself, then he is not. To say the things he truly feels and not the words of one who kneels. The record shows I took the blows and I did it my way. Proverbs 19:21. May all the plans in a person's heart, many are the plans in a person's heart, but it's the Lord's purpose that prevails. Rest well, my friend. When you go the other side, tell Aunt Dar, tell Mas Willie, tell Uncle Azzy, tell Arlene how the way.
Oh, you're here. Thank you, sir.
Good evening. He journeyed from southern Trelawney, and I from southern St. James, to high school in Kingston. He was on one side of North Street, I on the other. Both of us boarded in Vineyard Town, but knew not of the other. Our paths crossed at Cass, now UTech. I enrolled there in 1968 after 5th form, he in 1969 after 6th form. Back then, the construction department, Strucky as we called it, had the smallest cohort of students on campus. So whether you were in first, second, or third year, you became familiar with each other. The association was further reinforced if you lived on campus, which we both did. Dico immersed himself in all campus activities, and in so doing, widened his relationships. He was a very congenial person, easy to get along with, and was quite capable at laughing at his own missteps, misspeaks, what you might call it. A quality that remained with him throughout his life. Those latter years of the 60s and 70s was marked by a kind of re-emergence of African consciousness in sections of the wider community and on college campuses. At Cass, Dico was part of the movement and remained so until his passing, even visiting the continent. At Cass, he was instrumental in the formation of the Black Cultural Renaissance movement, later renamed the African Cultural Renaissance movement, a movement that is still active on the campus today. After leaving Cass, we infrequently ran into each other. He worked in the country, and I was based in Kingston. Our career paths would eventually lead to a reassociation and the building of a genuine bond of brotherhood. He as a contractor, and I as a surveyor. Over the years, we were involved in a couple of projects in our respective roles, from Westmoreland to St. Anne to Kingston. A feature of Dico's bids was his pricing down to the last cent, whereas most bidders would round up or round down to the nearest dollar. That was not his style. On one occasion, I questioned his actions. In response, he retrieved from his file. He retrieved the file from his briefcase and laughingly said, "Miller, sit here. Me do the calculations, and that me get, and that me put down." Argument done, as some would say. After the business of site meetings, Dixon would always have a goat on the menu. On many occasions after feasting, we would retire to a lounge for further refreshment and entertainment. Dixon was an eager participant in the game of pool and karaoke, and so would seek out lounges that provided such facilities. Late one evening at a lounge in Mandeville town, after belting out a few songs, he introduced me as his brethren from Kingston and pushed the mic into my hand. Now I couldn't flop town, you know. So, buoyed by the refreshments consumed, to his bemusement and to my surprise, I performed. And even got a forward, as they would say. He was good company, great fun to be with. Around 1984, Dixon and Valerie hosted a reunion of sorts at their residence in Ingleside. This get-together has been held every year since, except one, due to COVID. This event has fostered a time-tested bond between former college mates and has grown to include some of his relatives and friends from the Mandeville community. On receiving news of his passing on New Year's Eve, in a state of shock, I reached out to a friend in Canada who so happened to hail from South Trelawney. She later messaged me to provide some consolation. Her words in part read, and I quote, "I know how deeply personal his passing is to you. Hold dear the precious memories. Life and friendships are revalued each time we lose someone. It becomes clearer that we have limited time, that every moment is precious, and we should show and share love unsparingly." Yes, friends and family, his memories we should treasure. The love we should continue to share. Dixon would want us to. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Give me a second. Sorry. So, again, I've been tasked not only by Mr. Dixon this time, but the family and colleagues. I'm speaking on behalf of the Adrodix team of Alvin, or Daddy Al, as my wife would call him, due to our every morning conversation over the phone about work and what we have to do and everything. So let me get into how I met Daddy Al and Mommy Al. So I believe it was in 2019, working on one of the island's largest agricultural project now with Caribbean Brothers. Apparently, Daddy Al was subcontracted to construct 2 vehicle scale ramp. And on a sunny afternoon, during my inspection, whole and behold, Daddy Al, Mommy Al, pull up. It was a very jovial, pleasant greeting. My spirit automatically gravitated to them. But moving right along, I even ended up in their vehicle, introducing ourselves to each other and everything. There's always one joke or job I remember whenever we get the chance to interject into any conversation, and that was the Casey and Calabar saga. So we would take jabs at each other as the opportunities arose, whether it was miscalculation or whose idea superseded the others. There was always a slight productive competition. But being the young bull, I always felt I had the youthful advantage. But it was never enough compared to Daddy Al's wealth of knowledge. But please note, I didn't say I lose all the time, but most of the time. Moving on to our working experience, Alvin showed a pristine level of professionalism. We met, and of course, Mommy Al complimented him. And thinking back at it now, they seem like the local Bonnie and Clyde. However, for this project, I was in charge of inventory, logistics, and installations, and I was given the task of forming a technical team to carry out various tasks under my portfolio. Not having any idea who to call, I said, let me have a conversation with my newly found friend, Alvin. Alvin, who at this point had nothing, has never done any equipment installation in his life, said yes. He has a team of good men who he trusts and he had every confidence in. I met the guys and they were exactly what he said. They were respectful, intelligent, knowledgeable individuals who are always willing to learn. There's nothing I say that they couldn't do. I paired them up with a group of Mexicans who were brought in as the main engineering company, and I'd done this level of equipment installations all over the world. This was no challenge for the team, and the Mexicans took them as their own by enhancing their skill set in every area of the installation, from mechanics, welding, assembling, reading installation drawings, and so more. I stand here today confidently speaking. Not so confident. Speaking on behalf of Mr. Dixon. To say to his team of workmen who was on this project that Mr. Dixon stood for you with every confidence. He had every confidence knowing that you would not have failed him in any task. And he has given you guys the opportunity of a lifetime and an experience that only a few here in Jamaica I just want you I just want to use this opportunity to say congratulations. You were trusted and contributed significantly to the build-out of Stevie's air chill processing plant. And you made us all proud team players in that regard. That's the wife. All right, so fast forward to 2022. A client had asked me for my recommendation to construct his retirement mansion. So what do you think? I'm gonna call Daddy Al. Because I know that he will confidently make my work easier. And this is his main field, construction. The customer knew of him, and once you know of Alvin, automatically he will be your first pick. And just as expected, in true Alvin fashion, designs were sketched out, drawings prepared, and trust me, it was like driving Elon's Tesla. Smooth sailing, no hands on the steering. This was no obstacle. There was no obstacle that Alvin did not have a solution for. He only come to me for my buy-in or to see if the Rabalak young bull can beat his solution. And to be honest, looking back at it now, I think he gave me some of those wins. To build my confidence, so I would help to keep him sharp, being the older bull. Between Alvin, the strategist, Dragon, the executioner, I felt like I had the best team ever. To Dragon, I see most of Mr. Dixon's qualities in you. And I think, no, I don't think. I hope you hold them close because there are some amazing qualities that the young bull would have wanted, but the young Calabar bull just needed more time as a mentee. Hold it together. Oh, God. All right, back to the project. So, the White Horses project in St. Thomas, the guys expressed that it was one of the most challenging projects they have ever done. And I agree, it was not easy, but I respected you all for staying true until the end. And I know most, if not all, did it for Alvin. From Dragon, Erna, Dirk, David, Oliver, DG, Colin, Mr. Wright, Blue. I still can't understand why his name is Blue. Because there's a black man named the landscaping that's green, but him name Blue. Bunji. Bunji was one of me and Mr. Dixon's funniest memories on that site. And who knows the story about Bunji and that drum of water knows the story. Alvin always enjoys seeing his team having a good time. From dumpling and stew chicken back and dominoes under one dull light bulb to goat. I remember Dragon them buying a goat, a young goat, looked malnourished, but Dragon said that's all the money could buy. From JR Father supplying all the fish to the St. Thomas site, it was truly a blessing working with him. In conclusion, there are many things I can say about Alvin. He was definitely someone you couldn't stay upset with for more than 5 minutes. You would never dare to disrespect. Someone you could always learn something substantial from. He was an open book. What you see is what you get. A true leader and a provider. A kind soul, loving individual, jovial, never afraid of a change or a challenge, and a true role model. The things that myself and the team have learned from Alvin will last a lifetime. And it's our endeavor to continue and carry his name through a legacy of great work.
Do give him another round of applause. Yes. The family has asked me to apologize because of the problems with the mic and all that. We're trying to do what we can, but this is not our fault, really. And we're going to have Mr. Crump bring the last remembrances, and we start getting ready to have some refreshment.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Doc. Valerie, Jomo, Cora. Indeed, it's a pleasure being here, and good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, honored guests, the extended family. Good afternoon. It's indeed a pleasure to be here to partake in the celebration of life of Alvin, and to remind you that the Bible told us that we're only entitled to 70. And if you look carefully on the program, you'll see that Alvin did 70 plus 5. That means he lived a perfect life. And on behalf of the New York engineering chapters and attorneys, I was tasked to extend our sincere condolences and sympathy in this, your time of sorrow and grief. And we're hoping that you be comforted by God's undying grace during this time. One's primary purpose in life can only be determined by how many of the people's life you affect in a meaningful way. And it is evident by all present that Alvin did impact a lot of lives in a meaningful way. And for this, we're grateful and we're thankful for the family, for sharing Alvin with us over the years. And we know that God doesn't make mistakes. Although we can't understand why he had to leave us when he did, I'm sure that God saw the sorrow and the grief and the pain that he was going through, and to avoid the suffering, he took him from us to take him in that pleasant place where probably he's designing buildings now and preparing for the rest of us who are coming. So, on behalf of the entire group of engineers that is in New York and the attorneys, we would ask for you not to grieve too much and just continue to live his life that he has taught us over the years, and may his soul rest in eternal peace. Thank you.
I think we will take vote of thanks now. Catherine is, yeah? You want to do it?
Before the Dixons come to give the vote of thanks, there is something I must say. Where is she? Primrose, Virgo, where you there? She not there. I know, but I want to do it special edition and different than everybody else. We're twins. We're born upon the same day, the same number.
March 16th.
March 16th. I don't have to bother tell you Prim's number otherwise. Okay. She has been a tower of strength for me that no one in this room could give a vote of thanks to her because they don't know where we're coming from and how she has been so instrumental in putting all of this together. So Prim, before your face and behind your back, you did a wonderful job. And I want to publicly say thank you. Where is she? Where is Jackie? Jackie? Oh, the item now giving her justice today, you know. So Jackie, I also would like to say thank you because you too were instrumental in that planning when we decided that, yes, this is how things are going to go and we're going to do A, B, C to Z. So I want to say, with Prim, thanks a lot. And where is Miss Tweetybird? Don't tell her I call her that. Where is she? Miss Ma'am? I'm calling for Miss Gaia Dixon. She's my first female grandbaby. Thank you, sir. Yes, raised in the stable. But as Dr. Okala said, in the last 2 weeks, Miss Ma'am has just mushroomed and grown and matured into this lovely, intelligent, lovely little lady. And I want to just tell you in front of everybody how much I love and appreciate you. All right? So please, coming up, you want the microphone?
Good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of the Dixon family, we would like to express our heartfelt gratitude for your attendance here today to celebrate the life of our dear beloved Alvin Lorenzo Dixon. We appreciate each condolence, well-wish, gift, and contribution. Your presence, kind words, and support brought us much comfort and solace during this difficult period. We'd like to thank Ms. Primrose Virgo for tirelessly organizing the catering and venue for my grandfather's memorial service.
We would also like to thank Dr. Tajira Oti, who stood by the family, and more so Uncle Alvin to his last breath. We appreciate you so much. In keeping with his positive outlook on we will remain remain strong to maintain a level of knowledge.
Once again, and all the best to all of you.
I'm sorry, I had to add to the thanks. We'd like to thank Doctors Gabriel and Sonia Ukala for their unwavering support and friendship throughout this whole situation and also throughout Daddy's life. Thank you.
So we are at close time, meaning we're going to go for refreshments now. The memorial service is over. I've been asked to also thank all the members of the Ekenkai spiritual group who came from Kingston. They are now about to start going back. We want to thank you all for coming and for supporting Alvin through his life, later years in life spiritually. And may we give them a round of applause, those who are here. I think that having a community of persons who believe spiritually in the same teachings is very important, because as you know, love is all that we have. It's not material things, it's not money, it's not the big houses, it is your relationship with God that we always will have to cherish. So we want to thank you all for coming, and we may hear some music from the musician, if that's possible, while people go for refreshment. Yes? Okay. Valerie is requesting for that song to be played again one more time for her. Is it possible? Okay, we can try and figure it out. But I think, thank you all for coming and for participating. We appreciate it. We also want to thank all those who are not here physically, who have been watching online. We thank you for participating, for being here. And the family of Dixon is really very pleased to have all of you online. Thank you so much. Mr. Reed, we want to thank Mr. Reed and his company for providing the streaming and all the videos that you're going to see. Thank you very much for all you do. And the musicians, Mr. Marco Virgo, and could you shout your name again, please? Yeah, okay, it's in the program, okay. Thank you so much.
Spread your wings and let the wind just sweep to the sky. I've tried to love too tired, so go to hell. I know it's hard with such freedom to tell you.
And we also like to thank Mr. Everton Clark, our musician, who did so well today. Give him a round of applause if it's possible. Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
I know it's hard